What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking our top 5 most undervalued players heading into the 2023 fantasy football season. These are going to be late round guys that have tremendous upside, and you should be targeting across all formats. So make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. You agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. As you can see, we've got our 2023 fantasy football rankings pulled up here via fantasypros. This is ranked per PPR formats, but regardless, look, these are, again, all players that you should be targeting because they're just so undervalued. Now, we're going to be looking at this from a perspective of later round targets. All of these players are going to be outside of the top 90 overall ranked individuals. But with that being said, let's get into it. And as I said, we're going to scroll down here a little bit, all the way down to our first name, who comes in at number 91. That is Mr. Samaje Perine of the Denver Broncos. And this, simply put, has everything to do with the health of Javonte Williams. And I personally am of the camp that I don't believe that Javonte Williams is going to be 100% at the start of this season. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked if he's not fully right until the end of the year, which is going to present some really good value for Perine, who finds himself on an offense now coached by Sean Payton, who's utilized to a very successful degree these pass-catching running backs, and that is Perine's forte. He has filled in very, very well in backup roles previously in Cincinnati to Joe Mixon. I think he can do it here as well. And look, it's not that I don't like the talent of Javonte Williams. I really liked him last year coming into the league, but a serious injury like the one that he had, it takes time to rehab from that. And I understand, yeah, all the blurbs out there right now are, in interviews of his, is that, oh, he's ahead of schedule, he feels really good. Well, I mean, what else are these players going to say? Of course they're going to say that. We've heard it before with the likes of J.K. Dobbins, with the likes of Cam Akers. Then what happens, that first year after their serious injury? Well, they are playing below average. They're not seeing crazy volume. And you can see that they're limited on the field in terms of, cutting, in terms of accelerating. Basically, they just aren't at their 100% version. It usually takes more than a year. And I think that'll be the case here with Javonte Williams. Samaje Perine, he's being drafted as a handcuff, but I think he has serious, especially in PPR formats because of what he can do as a pass catcher, serious like mid to high end RB2 value at the beginning of the season until at least the middle to later parts of the year, because again, as talented as Javonte Williams might be, sometimes the body just needs time, and I don't think he's had enough time to fully rehab. So I think Perine is really going to shine at the start of the year. And honestly, because of what he can do as a pass catcher, the way Sean Payton utilizes his running backs, I think he's going to be a guy that is a solid flex play pretty much from start of the year all the way to the end of the year. So he's definitely somebody I'm targeting in the later rounds. Next, we go to the number 92 overall player, just one spot lower. That is Jordan Addison, rookie wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Addison is somebody that I mentioned when we were talking our rookie breakdowns. And, I've talked about him as far as dynasty rankings, things like that. I really like Jordan Addison this year. And I mean, obviously going forward as well. I know a lot of people are talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba as, the top wide receiver that came out of this draft class. I agree as far as talent is concerned, but landing spot matters. And I think Jordan Addison is in a very advantageous situation. He is the, basically number 2 wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, taking that Adam Thielen route. Now, sure, the Vikings added TJ Hawkinson, and he was a target machine last year, but that's going to get redistributed to Jordan Addison. And especially without Adam Thielen, there's a lot of targets here. People are going to be locking in on Justin Jefferson. And then, God forbid, something happens to Justin Jefferson injury-wise, Jordan Addison is going to become so much more valuable. I've said it before, the Vikings are not afraid to thrust rookies into these spots where they, have to produce pretty quickly. It happened with Justin Jefferson, and they pretty much, as far as draft capital is concerned, they put in high draft capital for Jordan Addison. I think that his plate is going to be full from day one. Playing opposite Justin Jefferson is going to help. He's somebody that I love taking a chance on in the later rounds. Stash him on the bench, and I think he's going to become a factor as the season progresses. But let's continue to move on here after those first two names to number 107 overall, Dalton Schultz, Houston Texans, ranked as the tight end number 11. I think Schultz is a really good value. Just a couple years ago, he was one of the top pass catchers for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I know he kind of had a disappointing year in 2022, but now he's going to Houston, where you could argue he's one of their more, basically proven pass catchers. You've got a rookie quarterback, and, there's a reason why people say that a rookie quarterback's best friend is a tight end, and especially a proven tight end like Dalton Schultz. Other than, a couple of veteran wide receivers there's a lot of unproven talent. I know there's some intriguing names like a Nico Collins, things like that. But I think that this offense is truly open to anyone and everyone to make their mark. And I think Dalton Schultz has to be at the top of that pecking order. I think that the offense is going to take a step forward compared to what it was last year. I'm a believer in C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to be the quarterback for the majority of the season. We'll just see how comfortable the Houston Texans are making him the guy, whether it's from week 1 or whether it's week 4, week 5, something like that. But to me, Dalton Schultz is somebody that I think can be, a top 10 tight end for sure. A lot of people are kind of hesitant to take him because he burned them a little bit last year, and now he's going to the Houston Texans. But I like the upside. We identified guys last year like a David Njoku, guys like a Greg Dulcich. The opportunities are there for these guys. Guys like Cole Kmet, and they delivered. I think we've got a similar situation here with Dalton Schultz. And if you're somebody that punts on the tight end position, you don't want to get a top 5 guy, then I think Dalton Schultz, along with some other names, are really, really great targets. But, digging into those later tight end names, that is a discussion for another time. Now let's continue scrolling down this list to number 117 overall, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, now of the New York Jets. And our first quarterback here, ranked as the quarterback 15. I think that is so undervalued. And I get it. Rodgers coming off one of his worst years statistically, fantasy-wise last year with the Packers. The interceptions were through the roof. The yardage wasn't there. The touchdowns weren't there. The domination wasn't there. But if you look at it, offensively, I don't think you can be all that surprised. The Packers weren't working with much. They didn't have a true number 1 wide receiver. Or if they did, Allan Lazard, he was banged up, and he was used a lot as a blocker just because of the inexperience of the other wide receivers, who a lot of them were rookies. So I think Rodgers now goes to the New York Jets, where you've got Garrett Wilson, you've got a decent offensive line, you've got hopefully Breece Hall making a fast comeback, and then you added a lot of pieces that you're comfortable with from Green Bay. So I think that'll help as well. It's a situation that I think it's improved talent-wise compared to Green Bay. And I think Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy that is just, rearing to go and, I don't want to say have a comeback season, because it's not like he was injured or just completely flamed out. But I think he can definitely improve on what we saw last year. The Jets have got a pretty good defense as well. So to me, I think Aaron Rodgers bounces back. He's being drafted as a QB2, basically as a backup quarterback. I would feel fine with Aaron Rodgers as my starting quarterback if you decide not to invest in the quarterback position in the first 8, 9 rounds, something like that. So to me, Aaron Rodgers is definitely that somebody that I am in on. We know that the talent is there and the weapons are there as well. So Aaron Rodgers is somebody that I really, really like as far as value is concerned. And then finally, coming down to number 129, I'm double dipping with the Jets. We've got Allan Lazard, who again followed Aaron Rodgers to New York. And look, I mentioned it with the Aaron Rodgers breakdown. Yes, Allan Lazard was the number one guy for the Green Bay Packers last year. There were weeks where he was producing, but then again, he got banged up. It was situations where he was used more as a blocker. As long as Allan Lazard can stay healthy, I think he's going to benefit a lot from having Garrett Wilson opposite him. It's possible that Lazard just right now isn't that wide receiver one, and having some of that pressure taken off of him by a Garrett Wilson, I think is going to do wonders for Lazard. Some more consistency. I think the main thing here for him is going to be, can he stay healthy, right? But the great thing with Rodgers is if he is comfortable with you as a pass catcher, he is going to go to you. And he is definitely comfortable with Allan Lazard. So honestly, wouldn't be surprised if there's certain weeks where Lazard outscores Garrett Wilson. I think Lazard is a very, very good value. People are just forgetting about him because, the Garrett Wilson factor. He's ranked outside of the top 50 wide receivers. I love targeting him in the later rounds. Again, he's going to be a bench guy, but I think he's going to be somebody that's a decent flex play as well. You could do a lot worse at the wide receiver position when you get to, essentially outside of the top 50 wide receivers. So to me, Lazard should be ranked significantly higher than he is currently. But with that, we wrap up our breakdown of our top 5 most undervalued players, again, outside of the top 90 here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear your thoughts in the comments section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? Who did we leave off the list and why? But in the meantime, we will see you guys in future videos.